yesterday against ESPN, and you already said it. We're suing them for wrongful termination. You know, they made a gutless decision. They fired Doug Adler, and they had no good cause to do so. There's an agreement between ESPN and Doug that the only reason he could get terminated from his position of 8+ years was if he engaged in serious misconduct. He didn't do anything wrong. And that's why it's so outrageous. ESPN took the easy way out on this.
Someone misunderstood the word he used, and that's grounds for firing?
It's shocking, isn't it? And here's the scary part of this scenario is that by ESPN adopting that interpretation of what he said, when ESPN fires Doug Adler, they basically say, hey, you know what? We think he's a racist too. And that's what they did. They labeled him a racist by firing him instead of standing up for their employee and saying, hey, you know what? Twitter universe, you misunderstood this terminology. It's one that's commonly used in tennis. In fact, one thing you guys haven't talked about, Guerrilla Tennis was one of the most famous commercials that Nike put out in the mid-'90s. And it's this great commercial. You can go on and Google it and find it. And it's got Sampras and Agassi in it. And it's called Guerrilla Tennis. And so
I bet you ESPN ran that commercial a lot.
Is that their full and complete reason that they cited for firing Doug?
That is why they fired Doug, because what he said in that match.
So there's no other story here bubbling underneath.
No other story. Doug Adler's career is truly, it's remarkable. This is a guy who he played pro tennis a couple of years, and he's too humble to tell you this, but then he became a businessman, and then in midlife he said, you know what, I want to do something different, and he said, I want to be a broadcaster, and with no experience whatsoever, he actually got hired to become a tennis broadcaster, and soon, within a couple of years, was doing the 4 major tournaments. Worked for ESPN for 8+ years, and what do? They hear these tweets going out about he called Venus a gorilla, and they fire it without any investigation at all.
Has anybody asked Venus how she felt about all this?
My understanding is that, Venus played one heck of a tournament, too, got to the finals.
Right.
But in the midst of the tournament, a couple matches after this happened, I think she was asked in the press conference about it, and she just basically said, I don't have a comment on it. I don't think she had really any information about what was going on, and she was in the midst of the Australian Open. I mean, why would she comment on it?
Well, I think you guys have a good case. I think ESPN is disgusting. Kind of silly what they did, and in the case of your client, they're very awful because he lost the career he valued.
Well, you two guys are on the air for how many years, and how many words have you uttered, right? And so just imagine, you say one word that's misinterpreted, and without any explanation, you lose your job, your career, and your reputation.
It's psychotic. It's outrageous and psychotic. And ESPN should be standing behind their employees, even if they make mistakes. But in this case, there was no mistake. There was nothing wrong done. It's the ignorance of people on Twitter who use vocabulary.
They're just looking for heads, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's horrible, the culture that we're in right now. Doug, thank you for coming on. I'm sorry you guys, I'm sorry you have to go through this, and I hope you're successful in court, and I hope somebody else hires you as soon as possible.
Well, I appreciate giving the opportunity to speak my side, and I wish ESPN would have been as thorough with me as both
this is crazy.
All right, Doug Adler and David Ring, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Crazy.
All right, more coming up. John and Ken Show, Heather Jordan has news.
And here's the latest on the storm, guys. The Sepulveda Basin and the San Fernando Valley has been closed until further notice because of increasing water levels. Firefighters used ropes and
I didn't think I was going to make it there.
To rescue 7 people and 2 dogs from the area. 1 person was taken to the hospital. News brought to you by Connell Chevrolet. A man in Van Nuys has been killed by a fallen power line. Police say it looks like a tree branch fell on the power line and a man may have touched it. Or electrified water, whether the line or the water. It's not clear if he was walking or if he was in a car. A sports doctor who treated female gymnasts at Michigan State University and USA Gymnastics has been ordered to stand trial for alleged sex crimes. ABC's Ryan Burrow says one of the women...
Oh, wow, this is insane. Insane, crazy weather. Surprised nobody's stalling, though. That's pretty good. stalled before in rainy weather like this, but not in this vehicle, so maybe this one's good enough. Good enough. Do 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 do.